One, two, Osiris here, and in a bit of a salty mood right now. We are witnessing the end of our country. I'm sure many of you have heard this story, and for those who have heard and don't care or cheer this on, you're too dumb and too drunk off of your reverse racism, insecurities, and terrible ideas and lack of principles that you don't know that you're destroying the country or you are knowingly destroying the country. It's one or the other. We had an activist on the jury for the Chauvin trial. Juror number 52 made himself public. He wanted credit. He came out and gave everyone his name. He came out and did interviews. So it's not unusual for juries in a high profile case to do books and come out and do things. To come out and admit that you were not impartial and to want credit for it as a hero is something I have never seen before. Juror number 52 is seen here wearing a Black Lives Matter hat, wore a t-shirt, get your knees off our neck, attended a protest rally where the Floyd family spoke in Washington, D.C. This was an event put on by Reverend Al Sharpton's National Action Network in conjunction with the NAACP. Whether I agree with it or not, that is your right, and I have fully support that. This is where the problem starts. The first question asked to this juror to make sure that they were would be impartial was, did you or someone close to you participate in any of the demonstrations or marches against police brutality that took place in Minneapolis after George Floyd's death? The second question asked, other than what you already described above, have you or anyone close to you participated in protests about police use of force or police brutality? The juror said he did not attend any protests for police brutality. So he could mince words on the first one, say I don't have proof that he attended any rallies in Minneapolis, but we have proof he did in Washington D.C. And there were other things other than police violence brought up, but police violence was brought up at that rally. The Floyd family spoke at that rally, and he wore shirts that supported a police use of force reform, a protest against that. The judge asked the juror whether he heard anything about George Floyd's civil case. He said no. He said he only heard basic stuff about trials dates, but nothing that would keep him from serving as impartial juror. That is a lie. He was at a Washington, D.C. rally where the George Floyd family spoke. Even if he never heard them speak, the fact that he was at a rally knowing that it was a rally where they were going to be speaking is something that should have been disclosed. So he defended his attendance, emphasizing that the march was 100% not a demonstration for Floyd. It was directly related to MLK's March on Washington from the 60s. The date of the March on Washington is the date. So yes, that is true. But we know for a fact that the demonstration in part focused on police use of force. Floyd's family spoke. Family members of others who were shot by police addressed the crowd. The rally served as a rallying point for the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act, a federal police reform bill. On the shirt that he was wearing, Mitchell said, I quote, he has no recollection of wearing or owning the shirt. The picture's right there. Facts don't even matter anymore. Juror 52 did an interview on April 27th. He said, it's important. If we want to see some change and we want to see some things go different, we got to get out there and get into these avenues and get into these rooms to try to spark some change. Jury duty is one of the things. Jury duty, voting, all those little things, the things we got to do to spark change. That's not the job of a juror. I think people have they've gotten their morals way out of line and they need to be calibrated again. This is extremely dangerous stuff. And I don't know why it's so hard for people to compartmentalize these things. I am not talking about the verdict at all. I'm not defending Chauvin in this video at all. I'm talking about a juror who lied to get on the jury and violated the Sixth Amendment of Derek Chauvin. Meaning, if his Sixth Amendment rights are violated, then that means you can violate mine too. This is the Sixth Amendment. I'm going to read the first part of the Sixth Amendment of the Constitution. The first 10 amendments are the Bill of Rights, the fundamental law of our country. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed. I know this was a challenging case to get a fair jury. And every day, if you watch the trial, Eric Nelson, the defense attorney, he would go up there and say, I want the jurors sequestered. And the judge would say no. And basically, the judge was saying, it's chaos. Like, there's no way for me to stop what's happening. And in my opinion, how do I know that the mob outside the courthouse didn't affect the judge? Because obviously, you couldn't have a fair trial right then and there. But hey, okay, I get that. Is it too much to ask that we don't have an activist on the jury? It's easy for people to look at this and not care because they wanted Chauvin to go away. But what if it's you on trial? And what if the mob outside is not a Black Lives Matter mob? It's a different type of mob. And one of the people who agree with that mob is on the jury for you in your trial, for your future. No one would have known any of this if he wasn't out here sticking his chest out, wanting to get credit for this. He had Martin Luther King Jr.'s face on his shirt. Bro, you need to take a magic marker and just wipe that out because you are not honoring the late, great Martin Luther King Jr. with that shirt. He would not approve of this at all. Don't put his face on your shirt. Don't do that. That's disrespectful. That's using him as a prop. Why do you have to rub it in everybody's face that there's this bias going on right now that makes it so easy for him to come out and admit that he committed a civil rights violation? He violated someone's Sixth Amendment rights, and if they don't do something about this, I'm not a lawyer. Something has to happen. If they don't do something about this to ensure an impartial jury, then they are complicit in this as well. And that's whatever. I think the same judge has to hear this. Something has to happen. So it's not over yet. If they do something in the name of justice here, then I will feel better. But you got to read the tea leaves. Prosecutors across this country are not prosecuting people based on their political leanings, especially when it comes to protests and violence. Many on the left are being let go. They're not being prosecuted after they're being taken into custody. There is something happening that is tearing the fabric of the country apart. Why is the Constitution important? Well, let me give this opinion from this website here, because I think it's well stated. We cannot undermine the importance of a constitution in any society or organization. A constitution proves to be of great value to the nation, not just at the national level, but also globally. They are the system of beliefs and laws that forms the basis for controlling the country, institution, or organization. Without a constitution, an individual's freedom is without protection. It will also put governmental powers in the hands of the citizen. A constitution explains each component of societal power, therefore becoming a source of defense to the citizens of a nation or state. So we allowed unconstitutional lockdowns, and not enough of those cases were heard in the courts. Though the lockdowns were unconstitutional for the First and 14th Amendments. Now we're seeing the Sixth Amendment potentially violated here, depending on what happens where we go from here. Why don't we just rip this thing up? Why do we need this? What are we doing with this thing? These are clear violations. Like, this isn't even something to argue or debate. Just rip it up. What do we need the Constitution for? People are openly and proudly supporting injustice. And they think they're fighting for civil rights. They're actually destroying civil rights. This same injustice that you're clapping and supporting right now can easily be turned around on you, and you'll never see it coming. I don't even know what to say anymore. Take care.
My homie had a friend named Melvin. Was dead, now he gracing the land like Elvis. Mel was locked down with the squillers, the killers, and the wiggers that play with little niggas like field trips. He was trying to chaperone a new idealism, writing on the papyrus in school. Popping pills was his way to escape. Born in 88, a late 80s baby with a 1990s face. See, it's hard to walk straight when you're running out of pace. Was grinding on the A to make class, bumping Dr. Dre. Under lots of pain, so sometimes he take time to fade away. Quick as yesterday, quick as no tomorrow, promise worth the Nostradamus. Used to smoke ganja with his mama's mama. Papa used to pop the lima, rhyming like Tupac, the common denominator for the drama that he go through now. Follow wasn't in the lost like Vietnam survivors bottled up in helicopter cockpits. Passion when he pop shit, laughing when he not good. Homie understood that his option was to not quit. Happy was his costume. Good night, bad trip, waiting at the train stop. Melvin shot himself in the brain till the pain stopped. My homie said he feel the pain when it rained. I never saw it coming. Melvin lost trying to race time.
Never ever saw it coming at all. He never ever saw it coming at all. He never ever saw it coming at all. He never ever saw it coming at all.
This is a page from the minds of the storytellers. Penn and Teller, fairy tale deep as Helen Keller. No umbrellas block the weather. Mary Poppins on the block with crack. True stories from the opera black.
We are ever evolving.
He had a moment where his life flashed before his very eyes. Was he blinking or was the casket closing? Asking for forgiveness for actions the Lord just witnessed. Pour some liquor for my nigga and for poor decisions. Right place, right time, however the saying go. Should've been laying low, and now he laying low. Threw the 38 up on his waist before he hopped up in that 84. Old school, sitting on the latest chrome. Vengeance on his mind like a vigilante, blind to the fact that his life will soon be ended in his prime. Popped the heater, got even, started speeding without seeing the stoplight. Blindsided, stopped breathing.
Never ever saw